to the stinking Wii video. The Nintendo Wii was released in 2006 to the critical acclaim of everyone, and myself included. Hi Austin, this is Niche Appreciation Club, where we look at things on a microscopic level and go, that was swimmingly swell. I should not have said swimmingly, that was unnecessary, it doesn't make sense in the context. The Wii menu is a bunch of small monitors that are bouncing with energy, accompanied by a soothing yet engaging tune, freckled to these soft bleeps and bloops and synths. The cursor, I guess, pointer in this case, slides across the screen, leaving a click with every monitor it grazes. We'll come back there. For now, let's look at the settings. And by that, I mean like the small icon in the bottom left. Let's look at the settings. Over there, we have memory, which I just wanted to point out something that isn't as relevant as it is today, is that memory files have these little blurbs and sometimes animations to them. Honestly, when you think about it, they're so unnecessary. But it's kind of charming watching these little frames jump back and forth between the animations, and you have this little blurb that says, Sonic Adventure 2, beat the bad guys, or something like that. Like, you don't need that on a save file in the system settings, that's pointless, but I love it.
What the hell?
Right? Now in the actual settings, we have just basic stuff. I mean, I can get passionate about a lot of things, but setting up your wireless manually is not one of those things. I'm sure somebody can, but that's not me. But there is one thing I really like about the Wii, and Stosh, this is also a very weird thing that I love about the Wii. You can name it. It has like a spot for naming the console, and you give it a name, and I don't think it shows up in any software. It doesn't show up as like a registered thing. It's just like, this is the console's name.
And like, is there any reason you need to distinguish between these?
No, there's absolutely no reason really.
Like, this is Charlie.
Yeah.
As opposed to Tony.
Yeah, no, it doesn't like show up like when you're playing with friends online. It's just like you can. I named my original Mega Sonic X. I don't think I really need to explain the inspiration for that name. I was 13 or 14. What about the opposite side though? The parallel settings. Why, that's a bulletin board, a place where notifications thrive. It wasn't just notifications from Nintendo though. This is where messages from your friends would end up, not show up, end up. They'd be like hanging up aesthetically with like this pin and waiting to be opened. You could also post your own dorky pictures and leave messages, plus you could leave notes there, I guess for the family to see. I use it as an occasional journal nowadays. I hooked up the keyboard, and to break the calm pace we have going here for a moment, please listen to the typing sound. Honestly though, the thing acts as this odd little archive for me now. I remember holding tournaments and posting the results here, or making demented art things from the photo channel. Not to mention, I like how your friends list, like the list of your friends, is this little notebook, something that feels so natural. That's it for the prologue though. Now we get into the guts and philosophy of the Wii, and presentation is such a strong point here. Have you ever thought about why these monitors, which I'm just going to call by their actual name from here on out, channels, are so large? It makes them easy to click, no hassle there. They're animated, and when you open the channel up, it even has this musical piece to go along with it. Well, sometimes they're musical pieces, sometimes they're just like this boring sound. It varies from person behind the wheel, Depends on how much effort they really want to put into it. Are you chasing him still?
He was licking himself, and then I just made a fast motion. He's like, "Blah!"
Speaking of that animation, they can be updated in real time. So for example, the weather channel and the news channel would update with news and the weather, assuming you had a stable internet connection, which I did not. Mine was jank, so they would never say, but it was still Newell. What kind of word is Newell? I think I was trying to combine neat and cool. It was still.
Newell?
I said Newell.
Newell.
If you use the console every day, then this was a nice detail. Plus, these channels feature some great music, but we'll come back to that. Wii Shop channel, no build up to that. I just wrote that as it is. Fine enough, perfect for me. When this first came out, it was insane. Well, at least for me, it was insane. This came out just around the time when I was getting into video games I didn't grow up with. So luckily for me, the Wii Shop channel didn't have just its own original games for the console called WiiWare, but it also had Virtual Console, which opened up the floodgates for me. I could play NES games now, but not only that, I could play things like the Master System and consoles I had never even heard about, like the Neo Geo and TurboGrafx 16. There was also Commodore 64 games, which unfortunately are no longer on the service, and also I unfortunately never grabbed some when I had the chance. And this is more of a personal anecdote, but I remember every once in a while, my mom would let us buy a few games off of this shopping channel, and we would take turns picking who gets to buy the game. Like, we get $10 on there, then we decide who gets to buy it. And there's two notable picks I want to talk about. The first notable pick is a game called Blues Journey, which my sister picked out, and it turned out to be like this really quirky and fun, colorful little platformer game for the Neo Geo. And the other one was Donkey Kong Jr. Math, a game my best friend Brandon picked out, and I tried to tell him that it wasn't Donkey Kong Jr., it was Donkey Kong Jr. Math. Yeah, and it wasn't what he was expecting, and I still laugh about that quite a bit.
Did you beat it?
I don't think you can beat it. It's like, it gives you Donkey Kong Jr., but then it's like 4 + 4 = blank, and then you just get to the so to be fair, it gets like pretty difficult math questions, at least for someone that would be blind.
Is there any like gameplay that's like Donkey Kong Jr., or is it literally the gameplay?
It's Donkey Kong Jr., but with like math. I'll show you sometime. I can't say interesting because it's just math. I don't have a paragraph of thoughts to say about the photo channel. I just wanted to point out one little thing. You can change its image to whatever you want it to be, and it has forever been my favorite picture of Brandon. It's this dorky picture of a like 10 or 12-year-old with emo dyed black hair, and he's making the stupidest face. What about all these other channels though? And I mean the ones that came from Nintendo. Well, you have the Nintendo channel, first of all, which is basically the channel that posted information and videos about upcoming games from, well, Nintendo. This was back before YouTube was like such a mainstream option. You know something else really amazing about this though? You could download demos for the Nintendo DS, which, for the unaware, the DS didn't have anything resembling an online shop, at least not in like its first form. There was also the internet channel where you could well surf the web. It's a browser. I can't really say too much about it, but you can still use it. It has a hard time with most modern websites, but it can still play Flash, so that's nice. I played Homestar Runner the other day, and that was actually really delightful. Everybody Votes channel was a personal favorite of mine, and that favoritism came from a few things. How the channel operated was you would pick one or two options, for example, apples or oranges, and you would pick, and you could have multiple people in this group, so you have like a dog, a cat, those can't vote, brother, a father, a mother, a friend, you know, a group of individuals, a coalition if you will. So even if you personally preferred oranges, you could be like, well, I vote oranges because I like them more, but I personally think apple is going to win. It won.
I was hoping that'd hit you, but you caught it, so nice, okay.
So, you get the stat chart saying how right you were all the time, how close you were, how popular, how unpopular your votes were. It was really cool to do with your family. And I mean, I would call my mom and sister over to ask them to vote, and really that was one of the first times in a while I got to share a video game related thing with my mom. I mean, plus Wii Sports, but I really hadn't shared like a video game with my mother since like the Super Nintendo. We also have the Check Me Out channel, which was just a channel where people would upload their Miis, and you could download these Miis if you felt love at first sight. It's where I found Abraham Lincoln and Jackie Chan, and
Your first love?
My first loves.
Okay.
Loves. There are also these contests, which I never won, but I joined nevertheless. Let me tell you though, people got really creative with these things, which is the next section of this video. Character creation is something I've always loved, and still do. And I have to say, I think the Miis are one of my favorites. There's something so simple about them. Simple shapes, simple features. It's with that simplicity though that you can make really good representations of people, and it gives you enough wiggle room to get really creative and sometimes bizarre if you really want. You could also be like me and create fictional people, you know, just make characters up. I'm really happy that Miis are still a thing because I started to grow an emotional attachment to these guys, and I'll just be heartbroken if they couldn't keep coming with me to console. Right, so what's the point of them? Well, the Miis which pop up in various games, and most memorable to everyone being Wii Sports, That's why I made up a bunch of characters actually, so I could fill up the baseball team with something a bit more personal. They would also appear in other titles, you know, wherever they felt the need to, and while I'm sure sometimes it probably aesthetically really clashed with the Mii's, like I'm pretty sure if I played Dead Space and I saw, but, you know, I would always get a smile when they did pop up, like, you know, Mario Kart where it made more sense. You hear that? It's the sound of the Wii, a textured landscape of incredibly complimentary score and feedback. The Wii's menu screen, I talked about it briefly earlier, but I can't state how in love with it I am. The music is both engaging enough to keep, you know, things lively, but also soothing at the same time. And that comment can be said about a lot of music for a lot of these channels. Since a lot of this music is just for what is basically menu navigation, it's really impressive how well crafted these are. Each channel offers its own tone, not only visually and well as functionality, but also it's solidified by the music it's packaged with. However, we're talking about kicking tracks, and you can't forget the fan favorite Wii Shop channel, and while I adore that, I'm going to wrap this segment up by talking about my personal favorite piece of music. It's a highly underrated but tranquil piece, News channel. I'm just going to let this music play for a bit. I'll be like back in like a minute. All this is so beautiful to me. This all fits together so smoothly, but there's like a bittersweet underlying theme to this whole video. And it's bittersweet because of the passage of time. I love sitting down with my family and friends, gathering around the Wii to engage in so many of its functions. However, it's been years since we've done that, and that's not because we have some sort of animosity towards each other, but it's all that we've moved out, we've moved on with our lives. I live on my own, moving further away from home. My friends are also moving in various directions, spreading out further and further away. Even if we all live together, I have more responsibilities now as well. It's not like I can just do that every day. And now I also have to mention the elephant in the room. The Wii's Wi-Fi connection services were shut down a few years ago, so things like the news channel and Check Me Out channel, those are no longer being updated, and they're never going to be updated again. Not to mention the Wii's shop channel itself is finally closing up next year, shutting down and taking this magical marketplace with it. These things I love, they're things of the past. Looking back at it brings me back with these strong sentimental feelings that I couldn't exist if the console wasn't so brimming with life to war and getting attached to. I think it's easy to take this all for granted, but the reason why it gives me such a warm, fuzzy feeling is I know something like this is unlikely to exist again, at least not in its current capacity. Now with the relevance of smartphones and how modern internet functions, that doesn't deter from what I got from the Wii though. It just, if anything, makes me appreciate it all that much more, knowing that I got to share such blissful experiences with my loved ones all these years ago. Enjoy those moments and cherish them. They are one of the best things in this life, and you should value those dearly when you can.